My wife and my connection to her was the best teacher I ever had. Welcome to satsang.
How can someone who's into higher consciousness use their relationship for their growth?
Well, I can only talk about my own relationships. When awakening occurred, I was married, and I'd been married for 10 years or maybe a little bit more, and I had 2 little kids by that marriage. And my wife and I were different types of people, and so there was disagreements. But I learned more about acceptance and let go from being in that relationship than I did in anything else, because I had the motivation of wanting to make it work because I had little children and I loved my wife. And so I learned more about accepting things that I didn't necessarily agree with and letting go of story in that relationship than in any other thing I ever did. And so I see, looking back, that my wife and my connection to her was the best teacher I ever had.
If someone doesn't have a partner and they're into enlightenment or higher consciousness, what sort of a partner do you advise they should look for?
I think people should look for their own heart. Because what have you got to give a partner if you haven't found your own heart yet? Find your own heart, and then you have something to give. If you haven't found your own heart, if you're out of touch with love, you're coming into the relationship as a beggar. And that's not a very good way to enter any relationship.
So if you're in a relationship, how can you use it to help with finding the way of the heart?
Well, you might be able to, but you might not be able to. Heart is perceived in openness. The more open you can be, the more chance you've got of perceiving heart. If you're closed, if you're defended, the chances are you don't perceive much heart. And so whether you're in a relationship or not, it's related to openness, nothing else, as to whether you perceive love.
And what about in a relationship where one person's a seeker, or they're interested in spirituality or having a look at themselves, or things that sort of go along with higher consciousness, and their partner isn't interested or into those sorts of things? What do you think they should do in that situation?
If you're into truth, you put truth first. Because whatever you put first is going to win. And so it's difficult when you're with someone who's not into truth, because they'll realise at some point that you're putting something before them, and they could be upset over that. And they might try to pull you away from your quest for truth. It's always best to be involved with people going in the same direction as you. It's difficult when you're involved with people who are going in a different direction. Almost impossible, actually. But people tend to have to find out that the hard way. The quest for higher consciousness towards enlightenment is probably the most difficult task a human being can do. And if you don't have support for what you're doing, it is much more difficult, almost impossible. If you put truth first, and you can get away with putting truth first, well, that could work. But people who aren't into truth don't understand truth. They think you're just doing some weird stuff. And so they're likely to try to pull you away or distract you. And this is just how it is. A relationship gives such wonderful opportunity for the practice of surrender and let go. But if you're involved with someone who's not into truth and you're very into it, if you're a keen seeker, I'd say there's going to be some pretty serious problems reasonably quickly.